English translation, 312th contact, Tuesday, 2nd October 2001, 07:54 hours.
Greetings, my friend. You have hardly slept 4 hours, but it is important that I visit you because there are several things I need to discuss with you. On the one hand, it concerns your own person, who is once again in danger because outsiders to the truth will try to act against you in a violent form, which is why you have to be careful once again. On the other hand, on behalf of our spiritual leadership, I have to ask you for further explanations regarding your last work, which you worked out for us, and which are very important for our understanding.
Of course. But be welcome, dear friend, and do not worry about the fact that I have hardly slept. You know, the fulfillment of my duty comes before me. So I will be happy to answer your questions when you make your request.
I am honored. Our questions are regarding the...
This is going to take some time to explain.
There is plenty of time for me. If it is possible for you, then it would be an advantage if you could explain everything to me and at the same time put it down in writing.
Of course, that can be done. No problem. So the paper is in the machine, so you can ask your questions.
It is about...
So that is all there was to answer?
Certainly.
Well, it did not take as long as I thought at first. It has only been 2.5 hours. But if you still have some time, I would like to ask 2 or 3 more questions.
I have enough time at my disposal today.
Well, good. FB has contacted us on the internet complaining that we are revealing his name in connection with his hanky-panky about alleged contacts of his with your daughter Sim Ya-se. He wants us to have his name removed from the internet. I do not agree with this, however, because his untrue allegations should be made public, I think. I think, however, that perhaps some words in the text should be changed so that less aggressiveness is expressed, because you know that in Switzerland and elsewhere in the world we are no longer allowed to call a spade a spade. Otherwise, legal action will be taken against me and ourselves, such as the removal of his name from the internet. For example, in the case of Claude Vorillon alias Raël, with whom I have been litigating for years because I called a spade, and it looks as if the Swiss courts still agree with the guy and are kicking my butt for that. For this reason, it would probably be appropriate that I change some expressions in the contact reports and in my articles so that no further charges can arise. It would be possible to mark the corresponding word changes, so that it cannot be said that I falsify your statements and my statements.
Surely you can do that, for it is in your right, in view of how the facts of the case arise, not to speak the truth with the appropriate words, expressions, and terms. But in this connection, I must say that it is extremely regrettable if in your home country, and also in other countries, there are laws that prevent and punish anyone who writes or speaks the truth about humans who have fallen prey to untruth and profit from it, as well as deceiving fellow human beings with the appropriate and correct terms and expressions.
That does not make sense to me either. But it is now the law in Switzerland that the effective truth may not be told with the words and terms, etc., that are relevant to it.
The practitioners of justice would therefore have to be held accountable themselves, because by applying such expedient laws, the truth is trampled underfoot, denigrated, and laughably degraded in the worst form.
A true word. But how should I mark the corresponding word passages? Is it enough if I insert a WV in brackets, for example, which could stand for word change?
That would certainly be correct, so you can probably do it in this context.
Good. Then I will hold it like this. Further, I think that we are probably beyond the time when it was necessary to draw attention to the injustices, lies, shenanigans, and deceptions of certain people through leaflets regarding alleged contacts with you, Pleiadian Pleiaren, and their theft of my film, photographs, and written material. I think that today we should refrain from these leaflets and take them out of circulation. What is your opinion?
Your opinion is also mine. Things have changed fundamentally because many liars, swindlers, and cheats, as well as charlatans and material thieves, have withdrawn or have somehow fallen behind in terms of alleged contacts and messages with us. So it would be appropriate to stop distributing the leaflets you mentioned.
I will be more comfortable if they are no longer needed. Then we will also take them off the internet.
That is part of it.
Then I have the question, have you received any answers from your linguists? I mean in relation to the concepts of peace, Frida, and peace, Frieden. It has been many months since I asked you about it.
Excuse me, I am embarrassed, because I actually have not thought about it. Of course I got the answer to your question months ago. The term Frieden, peace, so I was told, was the original value for a state without struggle and aggression, calm, pacified, and balanced, through which the rights of the individual as well as of the community and life were preserved and protected. The origin of this term is to be found in the old Lyran form, Frieden, which was brought to the earth ages ago and was woven into the old languages, from which the variations Vriden and Vride, as well as other forms, developed, which, however, no longer represented the original meaning and word value, Frieden. Further modifications of the term then led to a complete falsification of the word value in the German language, especially due to the stupid and illogical language changes. In this way, the term Frieden was transformed into Frida in ignorance of its value by omitting the last letter, the letter N. In this form, however, the word no longer contains the original value because Frida is a term for friend and, in an extended form, for friendship, which has nothing to do with the term Frieden. Unfortunately, the earthly linguists and linguistic twisters often do not know the original values of the words, and consequently they change the words thoughtlessly and unscrupulously and create falsifications.
As is the case in many other things. I am also thinking of the so-called historical and chronic traditions,
which unfortunately very often leave much to be desired in their truthfulness.
Exactly.
May I ask you something very personal?
Naturally.
You used to sing a lot back in the day. You have a very good voice for that. However, it is a very long time since I last heard you in this way. Do you not care for singing anymore? For my part, I still have recordings of this form, with instrumental accompaniment, which you have added to your respective songs on records.
Well, times change, so do habits and pleasures and so forth. Singing has simply passed me by with all the vicious attacks and precipitations that have been coming at me from my better half for decades. There are probably still some group members who have heard me singing, also from the tape recorder, but that time is really over. I am completely out of practice. The tapes have also disappeared or been destroyed, so nothing remains from that time. It is probably just as well, because life does not stand still and changes, just like the human being.
Certainly that is correct. I could give you...
No, please do not. Those days are over, and they will not come back, even if you play me the pieces.
That is right. But now, dear friend Edward, I should retire. However, I would still like to tell you that you and Bernadette should spend your time on Thursday making the changes in the writings you mentioned so that they are inoffensive. Since Bernadette can only spare 1 hour anyway, this should be used for the above mentioned. But now, dear friend Edward, farewell and goodbye.
Take care, my friend. Goodbye and Salome.